Caitlyn Clark has become the fastest player in the WNBA history to record 200-plus points and 50-plus assists. And she's doing this, you guys, on the worst team in the league with one of the hardest schedules right out of the gates that we have ever seen. But let me just start by saying I love how much national attention the WNBA has been getting. I mean, women's basketball has never been hotter than right now.
It hasn't been part of the discourse like this ever.
I mean, sold-out arenas, smashing records, multi-million-dollar deals. They are being talked about on the A blocks of national sports TV
which is like
and
the most
radio
important block
shows.
For anybody that's not familiar, it's the most important. It's
that
the, it's
is
the
like
top
the
of the show,
biggest topic,
biggest
the
topics.
most important thing you're talking about during the day. Before this year, I cannot remember a time where the WNBA was taking over that position in that conversation multiple times throughout the week. And you know what? There's no denying that a huge part of this reason is Caitlyn Clark and the hype from her college career and her record-breaking career last season. The Women's March Madness Final having more viewers, outshining the Men's March Madness Final.
It was the most watched college basketball game ever.
Ever.
Regardless of men's or women's.
Yeah. So, okay, you guys, we knew there was going to be a lot of attention on the WNBA. Really, for the first time, this is what we're seeing, right? And there's a whole new level of viewers. There's a whole new level of opinions. And it's been wild because there has been a lot of conversation surrounding Caitlyn Clark, but a lot of different ways that it can go, right? But let me just start by saying, did anybody think it was going to be easy right out of the gates? Because it's not. No matter what sport you're going into, from college to the professional level, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be a target on your back if you are the number one overall pick. And the reason that people are tuning in and watching this sport, vets are going to go for you. That's just how sports work across the board. I mean, if we were going to compare this to another rookie right now with a ton of hype coming into a new league, let's look at Caleb Williams and the Bears. He's getting picked apart at practice. He's making national news.
At OTA practice, which is T-shirts and shorts.
Practice. Now he's going to get a behind-the-scenes, like, Hard Knocks is coming in, and he is going to, like,
even
there
more
is
attention.
no hiding for Caleb Williams. So this is something that is normal for any top rookie heading into a new professional league, right? There's going to be a learning curve. People are going to come after you.
Yeah, we have, like, the discourse right now is like, well, do players have it out for Caitlyn Clark right now?
Yes, I will say there's been a couple situations where Caitlyn has been targeted. Kennedy Carter on Chicago took a cheap shot.
She did.
Knocked her down.
Yeah.
That clip right there made the A block. That was talked about on CNN, on the Today Show, on every sports show possible. It was national news. People are talking and caring about women's sports, and can we just take a moment to appreciate that? Because that right there is really cool.
It's cool, but there also needs to be some nuance to these discussions that I found completely lacking in this discourse.
Like what?
Because, all right, there was a cheap shot on Kennedy Clark. Like, of course players are after Caitlyn Clark. This is what happens for all the reasons you just said. It happens in every sport. But then you have this cheap shot from Kennedy Carter, which, again, happens in every sport when you've got a target on your back. Yet the entire league is now having to atone for one cheap shot. Like, when else does one cheap shot speak for the entire league or whatever? Now you're having this whole discourse about, like, everybody's jealous and this and that and the other. Jealousy is part of it. That's absolutely true. But how about kind of, the resentment against, like, I don't know, shoe companies, networks, people that weren't paying attention before Caitlyn Clark
they weren't
came
even
up.
paying. They weren't getting $1 million deals.
Exactly. So, like,
they also weren't flying private on charters. Caitlyn Clark is the reason this is happening.
But, like, we need to open it up to not just jealousy of Caitlyn Clark. This is something that is a deep-seated resentment from people that have been putting out a good product, athletes that have been putting out a good product for years. And so it's not just jealousy towards Caitlyn Clark. It's resentment to the networks, to the shoe companies, to everybody that was not paying attention.
But instead of having that outlook, why can't you switch it to, like, okay, this is our shot. This is our opportunity. People are paying attention now. Doesn't matter how we got there. Okay, Caitlyn Clark is the chosen one. She's the one that moved the needle, right? Yeah. She's the one that got our private plane. She's the one that's bringing the $1 million deal. She's the reason that we're selling out arenas and having to go to bigger arenas. She's the reason that our games are on national TV right now. Whether you want to admit it or not, as a player, and you are as great as you are, and you have been putting out this great product for as long as you have, she is the reason that this is moving. And that's
you need to also include, then, again, this is more of the nuance, you need to include the entire picture of what that is. Yeah. Is Caitlyn Clark who she is without Angel Reese in college? There's a yin and a yang here. Yeah. Every great story includes a villain, includes a hero, all of that kind of stuff. And that is what drummed up attention.
It did.
From 2 years ago that carried into this last season where the LSU rematch with Iowa was one of the most watched before the national championship because of this narrative, because of this storyline, because of this all-encompassing situation that is there. It's working side by side with each other. You're propelling Caitlyn Clark because there is this adversity, there is this opposition, there is a storyline to actually follow that has multiple levels. And so I think we need to include the bigger picture when we're talking about this. And that was what Angel Reese was talking about in her comments. And if you listen to the full quote, she makes mention
I think we have it. Do we have the Angel Reese sound, guys?
The full one?
The Angel Reese? Gonna play that? Okay, let's play that.
It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
And she's not lying. But again, it's all, as you mentioned, it's all part of the story. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are also tuning into the game that Caitlyn Clark plays. It's very similar to a Steph Curry. She is probably the closest player, man or woman, who has emulated Steph's game with these incredible clutch 3-point shots. That is her game. That is why people are tuning in for her and for that. And I'm not mad. I love the fact that Angel Reese has leaned in to this villain role. Mm-hmm. It's kind of become a part of her persona and her persona within the league. We saw when her teammate knocked down Caitlyn Clark, she was the first one to jump off the bench. I think that rubbed people a little bit the wrong way. But again, it just plays into this narrative where you want storylines like this. You need villains. You need heroes. It's giving us something it's great for us. It's giving us something to talk about.
I just want to caution, too, against, though, taking this villain role too far.
Yeah.
Because we have villains in sports all across the leagues, especially men's leagues, where you don't have to take it too far. It's on the court. It's a persona. It is the villain role that she is playing. It does not mean that she's a dirty person. It does not mean that she is a bad person. It does not mean, it does not define, again, going back to, it does not define the league either. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very uniquely women's, women in sports even. I think you and I even deal with the fact that, hey, listen, if one of us makes a mistake, the rest of us have to atone for it.
Oh, yeah.
That is the experience of women in sports across the board.
Wait a second, I didn't say that. It's doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You're
matter.
a woman in sports, so you probably think the same thing too. It's dude,
and it comes across in the blanket.
Here. I wasn't a part of that.
In the blanket statements of women belong in the kitchen, women don't belong in sports. It's what? How does one of us speak for all of us?
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that again needs to be talked about within this discourse of the W.
Yeah.
Is that these players are all their individual people.
Yeah.
They are not indicative of the league necessarily as a whole. This entire storyline is not indicative of the league as a whole. There are little rivalries and other situations all across the W. The W has been a physical league, if anybody has been paying attention.
Yeah.
So I want to caution, that's when I talk about nuance.
Yeah.
I need to see the way this discourse is going about the W going in the same way it does about rivalries in the NBA, rivalries in the NFL, in the major men's sports, where we don't define the entire league based on the interaction between these two players or this person or whatever. Like Draymond Green does not speak for the does not speak for the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, or like even the biggest stars, you think about LeBron, who is the face of the NBA still.
Yeah.
But we still talk about, you know, Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic or any of these other guys that are up and comers and all that other stuff. You need to allow these women the same benefit of having individualized personalities and understand that there are levels.
There is, but there's also it's pretty 50-50. Like you've heard women within the WNBA players, coaches come out and support Caitlyn Clark and understand the situation. But then we've also seen the other side, and it's everybody's entitled to their opinion, but there also needs to be some sort of awareness that like the reason all of this is happening, she is a big part of that. And all that matters are people are tuning in. You're getting these big deals. You're getting national deals. You're selling out arenas and people care. Most importantly, in a completely overloaded entertainment sports industry, people care right now.
And I would
about women's basketball.
I also want to shout out Caitlyn Clark because this woman has to be on now all the time.
And
she has to say the right thing.
She gets it though.
All the time. She does. That's what I'm saying is she gets it. I'm like, but this girl has to be tired, man. Like I am just.
It's all part of it.
It's all part of it. But she is absolutely saying the right things at all times.
Yeah.
She's saying the right things.
I wish we could all play basketball, and it is what it is. But like I said, the conversations are going to happen. It's good for women's basketball at the same time.
Right.
But I think it's hard for people to remember that. I just love playing basketball. This is my job. This is what I'm here for. I'm not here for the other stuff. That's not what my teammates are here for either. And that goes for the rest of the teams in the league as well.
Right.
She knows.
To constantly have to keep saying that, I'm like, oh, this woman has to be tired.
It's a lot.
But
it's a lot.
I commend her for again saying all of the right things and doing all the right things. Like she's also like actionable doing all the right things. It's not just saying the right things. It's also about backing that up with your actions, and she does that as well.
She does. It's a lot.